Hey guys, it's Lauren with Divided by Sight, and I'm here with the help of Nicole.
Hey guys!
And today we wanted to offer advice for those that are losing their sight or have recently lost their vision because of some type of accident or a disability that you were born with where your vision is slowly decreasing over time. So, first we wanted to talk about how you can use a computer to still do everyday life even if your sight has decreased. There is a screen magnification, either zoom text or there's a built-in magnifier with Windows 10, and what you can do is you can make the screen bigger and you can also change the contrast because some people find it easier to see things when it's a higher contrast on, especially if you're using Word or Internet Explorer. So you can make it black on white or black on yellow. It all depends on what's best for your vision. So right now, I'm using Windows 10, so it has the built-in magnification on. As you can see, that it already had made the entire screen bigger instead of just one little tiny section on the screen. And I believe if you click on settings,
Yeah, so right now, this is my laptop. I have it on invert, so it's white text on a black background. To use a computer, another form of technology people use is a CCTV.
or better known as a closed caption television.
Thank you, Lauren. A lot of people use it when they're doing work, either for school or right in general, because it's assistive technology that helps you be able to see what you're writing or reading. And the reason why I'm wearing my shades is, I'm sure you can see there's a bright light that helps with picking up what's underneath the screen or the magnifier. And it's a little too bright for my lighting, so I'm wearing my wraparound shades to help with sensitivity to light.
Yes, and as you can see on the monitor is what's being magnified, and it looks like it's weird stripe across the screen, but in actuality it looks just like notebook paper, but the lines are darker, and it's called bold line paper.
And the reason why it's black and white is because, like on my laptop, I have inverted.
Cool. You want to show how you can write underneath it?
Sure. So, some people prefer to use their phones or computers to write either a to-do list, or for writers to write down what they want to work on, or stories to tell, and stuff kind of like that. But I know some people like to use paper and pen and write down what they're going to do for the day.
Yeah, because some people feel it's more cathartic to have a written out to-do list and then after you do each activity, cross it out.
And so this is a 2020 pen.
Ooh.
And it's a pen that has darker ink, almost like a marker, but some bleed fur or some don't, so it depends on what brand or company you get for them. So I'm going to start writing.
What are you going to write for us?
Of articles I want to write for the blog for this first month. Article.
Ooh. And to elaborate what Nicole mentioned, we write a blog that talks about magic, tarot, mythology, history, and it's called Enchanting Tales.
Another form of technology people use is a CCTV.
Or better known as a closed caption television.
Thank you, Lauren. A lot of people use it when they're doing work, either for school or right in general, because it's assistive technology that helps you be able to see what you're writing or reading. And the reason why I'm wearing my shades is, And sure, you can see there's a bright light that helps with picking up what's underneath the screen or the magnifier. And it's a little too bright for my lighting, so I'm wearing my wraparound shades to help with sensitivity to light.
Yes, and as you can see on the monitor is what's being magnified, and it looks like it's weird striped across the screen, but in actuality it looks just like notebook paper, but the lines are darker, and it's called bold line paper.
And the reason why it's black and white is because, like on my laptop, I have inverted.
Cool. You want to show how you can write underneath it?
Sure. So, some people prefer to use their phones or computers to write either a to-do list or for writers to write down what they want to work on or stories to tell and stuff kind of like that. But I know some people like to use paper and pen and write down what they're going to do for the day.
Yeah, because some people feel it's more cathartic to have a written out to-do list and then after you do each activity, cross it out.
And so this is a 2020 pen.
Ooh.
And it's a pen that has darker ink, almost like a marker, but some bleed for it or some don't, so it depends on what brand or company you get for them. So I'm gonna start writing.
What are you gonna write for us?
Oh, excuse me. Probably the list of articles I want to write for the blog for this first month.
Okay.
So, chart article.
Ooh. And to elaborate what Nicole mentioned, we write a blog that talks about magic, tarot, mythology, history, and it's called Enchanting Tales. Yeah, so as you can see, it comes up what she's writing onto the screen, so it's easier for her to read back what she had written.
Right.
Anything else you want to mention about using the CCTV?
Chart article.
Ooh. And to elaborate what Nicole mentioned, we write a blog that talks about magic, tarot, mythology, history, and it's called Enchanting Tales. See if I can zoom in a little bit. You can see the screen a little bit better.
Can you not see it very clearly?
It seemed really far away, but it's better now. Yeah, so as you can see, it comes up what she's writing onto the screen, so it's easier for her to read back what she had written.
Right.
Anything else you want to mention about using the CCTV?
So, on the bottom of the CCTV, which I think would be easier to show when I get to read the book, is different devices.
Different functionality.
Right. But you said you want me to show how to use this first?
Yes, and then the piece of metal thing that Nicole has in her hands is called a signature guide.
Right.
It's very hard to try and see a piece of paper and where the line would go for your signature. So how this works is you place the signature guide on a piece of paper, and there's a little tiny white box, and that's where your signature is going to go. So you would line the bottom of that up where the string or the bottom of the box is with the signature line. So then if you sign your name inside the square, your name should appear. And it's not 100% perfect because your hand could shake or you may not line it up perfectly.
Or have enough room.
Or have enough room to write if you have a long name. But the general point is there that it will help you sign a document.
Like that.
And then can you lift the signature guide up? See? So her signature was in the space she was writing in.
But if you see, I had to move it to every other room. So
Even though your name is in that one.
To the other thing people use CCTV for, which is to read your textbooks or books for leisure if you're like me and you still like curling up with books that are print and not audio or on tape. So this is a book Lauren got me to help research for a blog. And they use that to show the different tools you can use with a CCTV.
Ooh.
So the first thing I'm going to show is that there's 2 buttons to the left of the wheel. And the wheel helps you to either enlarge or decrease the size of your font. And then on the inside of the wheel is a square that looks like a picture.
Uh-huh.
And you can hit that to change the light of your text.
Okay.
And then these 2 here, the first one to the left, if you hit it, it creates lines. So it helps you if you have trouble focusing on the spot you're reading or if you need a bookmark.
Yeah, doesn't it also create like a block out a lot of text for the one you're reading, like with the signature guide?
Right.
Yeah.
And you need that too. You hit the second time, you do that. And then the other one next to that does the same thing, but it changes the actual font itself.
Cool. So again, you can change the contrast, you can change the size of the font.
Right. And this one will change the color of the font, depending on what shade or what color you need.
Cool.
And then over here is a panel I don't really use a lot, but it has a sun and moon. And that helps to either brighten or darken the light source.
And another thing too to touch on is the tray that you have your book or your document on.
It's a sliding tray.
Right. So you can help move the page around. You can move it up or down, left or right. And then there's a button underneath it where it will lock it in place.
And
So,
so you can't move it.
Yeah, it won't slide around when you actually reading it. 'Cause that's happened to me, and it's very annoying because you will lose your spot in what you're reading.
I also find it's helpful when you're writing because sometimes you'll hit the wheel of accident and like next thing you know it's like super large or super tiny.
But there's not a way to lock that in, is there?
Not on this one. Another thing that you have a little trouble with is the larger books is that it's a little hard to get the full page without having to bend the book. That's the only drawback I feel like with using a CCTV.
Right. So if you have a giant book that you can't fit onto the CCTV, you can use a video magnifier, which give me 1 second, and I'll show you how. When you have a bigger book like this one, so this one's the Shenanigans Chronicles, use the offer. I'll have to look it up with Ruby to show you the offer is because I can't read that tiny print. But as you can see how thick the book is, this would take me a good couple months to read because I'm a slow reader.
Months?
Yeah, we'll hit a year. It takes me a month to read a normal book because I'm not a fan of audiobooks, which is an option if your eyes get tired easily from reading. You can download Audible, which is an app to read audiobooks to you, or you can even look up audiobooks on YouTube and find books for free. That's what Nikki's been doing, which is awesome because you don't want to pay to have somebody read a book to you.
Right. Especially at night when you're getting ready for bed and you just want to listen to a book before you go to sleep.
Ooh. Yeah, every time I listen to an audiobook, I get distracted or I fall asleep, and then I'm like, what was I doing? But again, like I said, so this type of book would be harder to put on the tray of a CCTV because it's so big. So you're going to lose either the top, or if you're reading from left to right, you're going to have a hard time getting all the way over here where the spine is. Because it's a hardcover book, you can't bend or crease the spine of the book, which Nikki doesn't do anyway. Hey, Nikki makes book hair like people. I'm kidding. Don't let she's gonna kill me.
I am not. Okay, I'm not as bad as I was when I was younger. Let's put it that way.
Why? What happened when you were younger?
Let's just say that he died in Harry Potter. If you don't Miley, that's pretty much how I was. But I'm better with it.
So what I'm using is called a video magnifier or a Ruby. And the cool thing about this is that it has a little thing that pulls out like a handle. So it's easier to hold. You can hold it with one hand, hold the book with the other. So you can kind of like curl up against a nice window and read on a rainy day. Or curl up in bed and read. Ooh. Alright, so I'm going to turn this on. And I'll leave a link in the description, but if you go on the Freedom Scientific website, you can get more information about other brands that have Ruby, video magnifier by Ruby, or similar companies. Because believe it or not, they have video magnifiers that are bigger.
And they also have what are called globes magnifiers, where they're handheld magnifiers, but they're cut into a orb or a circle.
Yeah, they kind of look like a spear, like
Yes.
a glass spear.
And they also have magnifiers that you can put over your computer screens if you don't use the zoom magnifications.
Okay, so like the CCTV, the text is coming up on the screen. Can you see the text?
I think so.
Can you?
I can't, but it might be showing up on your. I just don't see it.
So you can change the
Okay,
contrast.
I see it now.
Yeah, 'cause I had it like no contrast at all, and that's probably why I had a hard time seeing it. But you know, I changed it to white and black. It's way easier to read.
Right.
You can change the size.
Oh.
Sorry, I made it too big for Nicole. Now better.
Hmm?
And another cool feature of this one is that if you push this button all the way at the bottom right, it will freeze the text if you're looking at a list.
Or a recipe.
Ooh, he now want to bake. Damn it. But if you're looking at a recipe and you don't want to keep looking back and forth, like, okay, I need this amount of sugar or this many eggs, you can freeze it and then go to grab what you need and then look back on the screen and say, oh, right, it was this amount per ingredient, instead of going back and forth from the Ruby to the page. And there are a lot of accessibility options inside your Apple devices, whether you're using an iPad or an iPhone, and that's why I will always choose iOS, Apple over an Android. I'm going to leave a link below to a video that The Blind Life did, and he covered all the different ways that you can use your phone to read to you, like if you're doing text-to-speech or voiceover, as well as Zoom, and that is the way to magnify things on your phone. Is run by Sam, and he is also visually impaired. He does a lot of videos on technology that can help those that are blind or visually impaired, as well as different accessibility things you can use. There's going to be more to come in the future. We want to give advice through our own experiences to those that are losing their sight, because it can be very scary and overwhelming, and it helps if you have a resource you can turn to that has been in your shoes, because then you know that the information that you're getting from them is genuine. So please like and subscribe and have an awesome day. Bye!